Today's project, we are going to make a Boney pillow using the Boney template from Martelli Notions. This is really easy to do. So as you can see here, I am starting out with 3 fat quarters folded in half. I'm pressing them nice and flat. I want to get as much of the wrinkles out as possible, get them nice and crispy, and leave them folded in half. That way you can use your template. The flat side of the template goes up against the creased part of your fat quarter. So you can see here, I've got the template lined up. Now I'm trimming off all the excess. If you have a roundabout system, this makes it really simple to do. You can just kind of rotate as you trim. Takes a little bit of finessing with your rotary cutter, but it's not that difficult. Get everything trimmed up nice and easy. And there you go. So now we're going to take the pieces that we just cut and we're going to open them up. We're going to repress them because we want to take that crease out of the center. Then we need to fold them the other way to find the center of the right and left hand side. Okay, so now take the bones long ways and you're going to fold them in half. You want to find the center of the bone on the right and left hand side. These are going to be registration marks, so when you find the center, just go ahead and press a little crease. You don't have to press the whole thing, but leave you a little mark on either side, so when you're sewing 2 of these panels together, you can line up center to center. So I'm doing that here. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other 2 pieces as well. Okay, now that we're at the machine, we're going to take 2 of those panels and we're going to put them right sides together. Line up those registration marks that we just put in there with the creases. So we're going to go from the center of one side. When you first start out, you need to go ahead and back tack that just to secure it. And then using a 1/4 inch seam, we're going to sew all the way around. So come up the side, and then you'll get around to the long piece. Just kind of manage it as best you can. Sewing curves isn't always the easiest, but this is really not a tough project. So keep lining up your fabric and continue to sew all the way around to the other side using a 1/4 inch seam. Now you can see as I'm getting around here to the corner, just keep your fabric lined up as best you can. Kind of move things along. You may have to pick your presser foot up once or twice and kind of straighten it out, but that's alright. So keep sewing until you get to the center of the other side, and then go ahead and stop. Do a couple of back stitches just to secure it extra, and then go ahead and snip your thread and take that off. Okay, so in this example here, you can see that we've sewed the purple fabric to the pink fabric, okay? We went halfway around. Now, we need to take and open up the sides that we have not sewn, okay? We're going to fold one of those sides back, and then we're going to take our 3rd piece, this blue fabric here, and we're going to go ahead and line that up right sides together again with the pink fabric. So it takes just a little bit of doing. It's It's not that tricky. Take your time, and after you make one or two of these things are a cinch. They're pretty fun to make. So what I'm doing here is I've got the piece with the two sewn together, folded in half, and then I got this blue piece. Now I'm trying to line up all of the center marks before I start sewing. And this will be at the end of the Boney pillow. It can be a little tricky whenever you first get going, but you'll figure it out. It really doesn't make that big of a deal. Kind of will determine on how flat your seams and stuff are on either side, but I mean, really, this is just a pillow, so we're not going to be too crazy. This is going to be something the kids are running around with, or you're dragging around on an airplane, or you're putting in your quilting chair to give your back some support. So kind of a fun project that you really don't have to be too picky with. So now that I've got everything lined up here, I'm going to run it through the sewing machine. I'm going to still try to maintain that 1/4 inch seam using just a regular 1/4 inch foot here. So get everything going. Start with a couple of back stitches here. You can see I had to adjust things a little bit. I didn't want to start out crooked. Okay. Now we've got that good. Now we can get going. Couple of stitches forward. Do a couple of them back here. Lock everything down, and then we can just zoom around here. By this time, sewing these curves ought to be no big deal because you've already done a couple of them. Now, as you can see, my fabric kind of keeps walking one way or the other, so I just keep stopping and adjusting it. Now, I'm not a person that normally uses pins, but if you're somebody that pins, then by all means pin this together, and then you won't have to stop and adjust so much. But I tend to just kind of go and take my time, do a little bit at a time, and adjust as I need to. So you can see here, I went ahead and took it off the machine, getting around that corner, readjusting, and then we will get the stitch in again and go all the way back, and we're just going to sew just a little bit past this halfway point, so that way we're tacking this to the other two, and then our seams in the center, what will be the end of the Boney pillow, all kind of intersect. So you can see right there my little thread got snagged. And I'm just checking to see where we're at. We're going to keep going. Now you can see I folded that purple over because I want that to be right up there in the crease. Just right there at the center as I'm going here. I just go maybe a stitch or two into that fabric, and then I'm going to stop and back tack it. Okay, so now at this point, we've got all the sides except for one sewn together. So I'm starting on the end here, and I'm going to cruise around this corner here right after I get things situated. Just took it off, kind of realigned some stuff here for just a second. Okay, so I folded the top pieces out of the way. That way I can sew the rest of the purple fabric to the blue fabric. Now I'm starting out with a couple of back stitches to secure everything. Get things all lined up. And then we're going to sew around the corner on this, just like we did the other ones. And then when we get to the long straight part, we're not going to sew all the way across like we did. We need to stop somewhere around in the middle. We want to leave us about a 3-inch opening or so, just big enough that you can turn this thing inside out and then stuff some stuffing into the hole. So I say about 3 inches. That gives me enough room to put a couple fingers in there and stuff some stuffing into it. Now when you get to where you're going to stop to create your opening, go ahead and back tack that in that spot there, just to kind of give that opening a little strength, because you don't want your stitches to pull open whenever you're putting it inside out and you're stuffing all that stuffing in. So you can see I'm kind of eyeballing how big I think I need this opening to be here. So from my one finger's pinched to where my other set of fingers pinched are, it looks to be pretty good size. We'll go with that. Okay, now lock your stitches in and finish sewing all the way around until you get to the center point on the end. And then all three of your pieces will be joined together, and you'll have a hole there in the center where we were going to turn this thing inside out. Okay, now that we have everything sewn together, we go back to that little hole that we left, and we're going to turn this thing inside out. Just do the best you can. Try to stuff everything in there. Get your fingers in there and get it all turned around. And then we're going to put some stuffing in this thing. We're almost done here. Okay, now we need to put some stuffing in here. Now, how much or how little is up to you. Depends on how firm you want your pillow. But what I like to do is start on either end, kind of stuff it into the 3 points, if you will, on either end, and then work my way to the center. So get your stuffing in there, make it as firm or soft as you like, and then it'll be time to close up the hole and we'll be done. Okay, as you can see, I've got quite a bit of stuffing in here, so we are almost done. This thing's going to be nice and comfortable. So once you get it all stuffed, the next step is going to be to take a needle and thread, and just with a simple little whip stitch, close up the hole that we've left, and then our project will be done. Okay, so this is my second pass here, stitching this up. Just giving it a couple extra stitches just to make sure that it doesn't pop open, because I got this thing stuffed pretty full. So once we get to the end, we're going to tie off our thread and our project will be done. Okay, here it is, all finished. If you'd like to get your Boney template to make your own, or any of the other Martelli products I used in this video, I will have a link in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Click that bell notification so you can be alerted next time we upload a video. And until next time, thank you. Have a good one.